Hey guys, welcome back to the Tukes and Tires YouTube channel. As always, I'm Zach, and this week we're running AN Hardline and making an easy EFI tank from a K5 Blazer.
Hey, is that Timmy's?
Yeah, because we're in Canada.
Alright guys, well I've been a little busy since the last time you saw me. I've been trying to get the frame ready, and the whole truck ready for this moment. So I've been painting the whole frame. I've cleaned, painted, seam sealed, and undercoated the whole underneath of the truck so that we can get ready to start installing this stuff. So basically, this is super simple. Most guys probably do it this way. This is the way I'm gonna do it. So obviously these trucks in, I don't know, I think it was 87, they started doing like the TBI fuel injection. So obviously they have a baffled tank, which is awesome, super awesome. So you can see, if you guys don't know what a baffled tank is, there's basically just a basket down in there that holds fuel for your fuel pump. So this is going to work great for my application. Obviously I'm going LS. And another thing to point out is when you're doing this, like, you know, you see all these really expensive tanks online. Say you're doing something else. Maybe it's not a Blazer, but it's like there's another vehicle out there that has had fuel injection and has a fuel tank pretty much the same size as probably as your fuel tank. So if you just do a little research, like, you know, most cars came with a square gas tank similar to this one. Maybe this one might be too big. Who knows? I mean, there was the smaller version of an S10, you know, square body that had fuel injection, but it has a smaller square tank. So, I mean, if you're doing something like this, is super easy to do and figure out. So, that's the tank. It was a Dorman tank, came painted. Really happy with that one. And this is all my supplies over here, what I'm going to be using. So, obviously, we have the factory sending unit that goes in here, and it's got the regular pump. I think this only pumps up to, I think it's like 15 psi. I don't know. Obviously we're not going to be using this. Everything else on this is great because it's got, you know, all the fittings and stuff up here, vent, whatchamacallits, whatever, right? So it's got, you know, your factory plug on there. We are going to be getting into some stuff where I might try to take this apart and change out the wiring to put in a heavier wire. Just had in the past another truck that I've done an LS swap in. I have like a heavy external pump on the frame, and I had the wire actually smoke up on me because it was too small. My mistake, really. So I usually just change that out so it's a heavier gauge so you never have those issues. And so next, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes to this whole unit right here. This is going to be my upgraded fuel pump. Obviously, I bought an Aeromotive. It's E85 like capable. Obviously, we don't really have much of that here in Canada. Like gas stations that you can actually buy that stuff. But, I mean, we got ethanol in our gas, so it's just good to, you know, make sure that it can handle that. So it's basically the same diameter as this pump that's on here, same kind of style sock. So we're not going to have any issues fastening that into this sending unit and putting it into our gas tank, which is like super awesome. Obviously, because I'm running AN line, you know, you don't have to do this with AN line. You know, think about it as like, what's your favorite chocolate bar? And some people, you know, like something different. Mine is like, I like AN lines. I'm that kind of guy. It just, you know, it tickles my fancy. So that's my thing. I don't know. You know, whatever kind of hose you guys are dealing with, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to get the job done and you're going to be satisfied with yourself after it, right? So, you know, just use whatever. This is just the way I'm going. But with this is, you know, GM does this like really dumb thing where they have these kind of like metric style fittings on here, and it's got this O-ring. Like, that's junk. So you got to buy these adapters here. So I don't know if you guys can read the part numbers. I will put all this stuff in the description down below so that you guys, if you're going to be doing this, you can find all these fittings. But these are basically adapters to go from that metric style fitting to an AN line. So that's super awesome. Obviously, we're not going to be, in this episode, obviously the motor's not going to be in. So, I mean, some of the stuff we're not going to use and do. But for now, I'm going to show you guys because it just makes sense. If you're doing it, you're going to want the information. So, obviously, I'm running like factory truck style lines. And I'm running a return style system. So, I bought these fittings. They just clip onto the factory GM rails. Goes to AN. Super clean, super easy. And I got myself just a, you know, filter, high pressure filter, black, matches everything else. I just, you know, I'm not a red and blue type of AN fitting guy. I like black, you know, that's where it's at. And then, so I got my gas tank straps, obviously, that's, you know, that's a given, you need that. But then, what these are, so this is a special thing for doing this, because, you know, I've never done this before, but I want to make it look as factory as possible. So we are going to have to use a special flaring tool to do this. But you need these fittings. You need these two parts. So you have, I don't know, I would consider this a collar. And then you have this like the nut portion. So this basically makes like the female side of your AN fitting. And then we're going to flare this line. And then we'll be able to adjoin the AN line onto it. Then we have all like AN fittings in my bag here, and I got some just vibrant braided line to adjoin everything. So that's everything I've bought to do this. It's a super cinchy thing. I know that's a lot of information right off the bat, and my mouth is tired. I've heard that before. But that's all that stuff. So we're gonna get digging into this. And I'll show you guys some tips and tricks what I do to, you know, get this train rolling. So here we go. Okay guys, well the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my fuel pump and fuel tank. So we're going to get that all set up. We're going to get this pump out of here. Upon further inspection, I think I'm going to leave this wiring. And the only wiring I'm going to change is the whole wire that comes down the length of the truck. Just due to this thing, looks like they kind of melted it together with these wires in here. So I mean, worst case Ontario, this burns up back here. But I mean, I think it should be fine. It's going to be cooled by the fuel pump that's going to be in there. So I think it's gonna be all right. So we're gonna get back to when I have this set up, and then we're gonna throw a little bit of Vaseline on all these O-rings because, you know, we want to make sure they're all lubed up, because make things going a little bit easier, and you know, you're not gonna risk tearing something. So, and it'll just make sure that we got ourselves a nice tight seal so all the juices stay inside all these crevices here. So we'll get that all set up, and then we're gonna move on to cutting some AN line. And for that, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there. So I'll get this changed over, you'll see that, and we'll get it thrown into the tank. All right, so we got that old pump out, we got the new one in. Just on the little thing that the factory one sat on, there's like a little rubber spacer. I just kind of had to shave the bottom of it off to get this sock to go on. And before I took the sock off, I did mark a line on it. I'm going to look at the baffle in the tank just to make sure that this sock is going to be sitting the right way. And we got our AN fittings on there now. They went on pretty slick, and we got her all soldered up here. So let's go throw her in the tank. Remember guys, lubrication is key. Now, go get your petroleum jelly, your Vaseline, whatever you got, because I know you got something, and put her on this O-ring. You'll thank me later. Lacey, what are you doing? Holy shoot, Lacey. What do you think you're doing? Yeah. Nope, that's Vaseline. Look inside in there. It runs a long ways, so it runs this way. So, away. And what's nice about this sock is that, like, the factory one only folded on one side. This one folds on both sides, so it, like, makes it, like, super nice to get in there. Lacey, you gotta get your head out of the way, huh? Come on here now, okay? Thank you. I think it's all right. Snake this down in here. Look at that. Oh, and we lose the O-ring. Right. There it goes. Okay, now we'll never get this on. Maybe we should have went around the hoses first. And then stuck the wiring through. Lacey, you're quite the cat, you know. Yeah. Get it, Lacey. Where's the hammer? Lacey, you're gonna run now. There we go. Now she's all locked in place. I can't see down in there, but hopefully it's doing its thing. Before I go to stick this in, I'm also gonna add a little hose on here for the vent, and then I'm gonna make a vent somewhere else, and I'll probably end up putting this rubber line on. I don't know yet how long this one is, but I think there's plenty of space in between the floor and the frame to get in there to get this one on. This one would just be a little tricky. So now let's make up some AN line, the braided type, and I'm gonna go measure some length to see how much I need from here kind of to get to the frame, and we'll make that up. So we're in business. Okay guys, well, we're gonna cut some AN line. I've already done one of my hoses. I needed one at 26 inches, and then I needed another one at 25. Obviously, you can, if you want, take into account for how long the fittings are. I just cut the line at what I needed, and if they're a little longer, I mean, whatever. It's, you know, it is what it is. So that's one line that I've done, and the way I do it, obviously, when you look at this, I've already put one end on, because that's how I do it. I stick the end on after I cut it, but I'll show you guys. Kind of, if you've done AN lines before, you know what it looks like. Obviously, you got yourself, like it's a fitting that looks like this. It's two parts. Most AN lines are similar. I've never used Vibrant before, but it's very similar to other companies that of hose I've used. Just one thing that's a little different that I noticed with this, instead of having a thread in this part, it basically just has like two tapered things that lock this part onto the threaded line. It works pretty well, similar, but you got your part like this that you, after you cut your line, you stick on there, and then you got this part that threads into it. I usually put a little bit of WD-40 on this part so that it goes into the hose portion a little bit better, but I'm using electrical tape to cut this, so you can see that. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but I got two pieces of tape wrapped up here. It's about, I'd say, I don't know, 4 to 6 layers wrapped around there, fairly firmly tight, and I just put on either side. You can see I got a line here. I'm gonna go now and I'm gonna run one band around it so I can still see that line, and I'm gonna cut on that line, and we're gonna see how it turns out. Should be all right. I gotta move the camera though. You guys are in my way. Also, you know, I'm just using something to clamp this in here. I also, when I go to put these fittings on, I kind of just stick this in the vise and I force the line into it. That's just a lot easier. And I also, when you're cutting this, you got to make sure, because obviously it's rubber, leave yourself, like, you hold it loosely so that, like, basically the grinder does all the work and you're not forcing the rubber line into it. Okay, what do we got here? That one didn't turn out too bad. This is just my spare piece, but you guys can see kind of, it flared it out a little bit, but this thing in here, if you look at it, it has a taper, so it helps you weave the end into the hose. So this is my spare piece, so I'll put that somewhere where I'll forget where it is. And now all I got to do is take this electrical tape off of there, stick this in my vise, force it in there, and then I'm going to blow it out with some air, and then we should be rocking and rolling. Oh, do you see the stuff going on there? I think it already came up. But yeah, I'll blow it out a little bit better, and we'll get this on there, and then we should be doing some hardline. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Okay, so now we're underneath the truck. I got the tank in. That was a job in its half by itself. The old man came out here and helped me for a second, just gave me a hand. And you can see we got the AN lines coming up in the factory spot. I got the one marked with tape so I know which one's the pressure line, so I know which one to put my filter onto it. And while I was at work today, I was kind of thinking, because I was trying to figure out what I could use for this vent over here for the gas tank, and then it dawned on me that the rear end has one of these kind of vent doohickers. So I went and picked me up one of those and threw it onto the line. It's a Dorman part. I don't know if you guys can read the part number on that. I'll put it down below, but it worked pretty slick for that. So now let's get to running some AN line, some hard line. It's gonna look pretty sweet. It's kind of tight under here. What do you think, Lacey? Nothing? Okay. Okay, I just rolled out of there, back up top now. But you can kind of see that I already started bending up one of these lines. Turned out pretty slick, and I got it flared. I'll show you that next, pretty sweet. But when you buy this stuff, it comes in a 25-foot roll. It's 3/8. Bought it from Summit Racing, but I'll put the part number down below for that. And like I said at the beginning, you're gonna have to use these special little nuts and collars to go on the line. I'll show you how those go on when we start using this bad little unit right here. I bought this from Eastwood. It's originally a brake flaring tool. Comes with all the turnstiles, or turnstile and the dies for it, but I ended up buying the 37-degree flaring kit, and that is to do AN line. And this thing is a pretty nice unit. We'll end up using it to do all my brake lines, but for now, we're gonna do this. And just to let you guys know on a little secret, you know, all these turnstiles are the same, so if, you know, you can't get one thing from one company, you just buy another. That's what I did. They don't like to tell you that, though. You didn't hear it from me. But I'll get this line bent up, and we'll throw it into the vise, and I'll show you guys how that works. It's gonna turn out pretty sweet. Okay guys, well, we got my line bent up, and we're just getting the machine, or the press set up here. But I'm just gonna show you with this little piece that I have here. It's left over. So you can see that I have my flare done on this one side. I was just kind of messing around with this piece. But what's really important to remember with this stuff is that it's very easy to bend. So if you're going to use a cutter, this is what I use. A very small one, and I do very light passes while I'm going around in a circle, because this will crush very easy. So you want to take your time with that. And then I don't have one of those fancy little scraper doohickers, because obviously you want to deburr this before you stick it in the machine. So I just take one of these stepper bits, and I kind of ream it out the best I can. And then I have one of these. It's also kind of like a reamer that can clean out the tube on the inside, and it deburrs the outside. Then what I'll do is after, because you have these fittings, and obviously always remember to stick your fittings on first. I don't know if this will go on there, but you always want to start with this one first, and obviously you want to see which side your threads are on. You stick that one on first, and then this one, you can kind of see that it has kind of a notched out, or like a lip here, and you want to make sure that when you stick that on, you'd stick it on like this, so that way when this piece goes through, and I'll just demonstrate by dropping it in there, you can see that it hangs out the bottom, and it kind of looks like an AN fitting, you know, so that's pretty cool like that. So I got my machine ready to go here. Let me don't lose this now. So you can see that I got my die in here. It says that it's 3/8. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick this line in here, stick it in there a little long, doesn't matter. And then we're gonna lock down the jaw, tighten this loosely, not too heavy, because we want everything to kind of slide around on us. And then we're gonna go to operation 0, and then we're gonna push on that until it bottoms out. Once it bottoms out, we're gonna lock this down harder. And then you can see that there's operation 1 and operation 2. And what I do is I take some WD-40, I just kind of shoot it on the dies just to make sure that it's going to slide good. We're going to turn it to operation 1. And then operation 1, I always think is the more important one. So especially with this aluminum line, if you're doing other kinds of lines with this, like stainless steel or whatever, it might not be as important. But like I said, this crushes really easy. So you kind of want to watch until this bottoms out and not go much further. So we're gonna start pushing on it. You'll see that it gets to a point, and then we start going. Watch it. It kind of stopped there. Just get a little extra tug. Awesome. And then we'll go to operation 2. Same deal. We're gonna pull it until we see it kind of stop. Give it a little extra tug, and then we can loosen this off. Pull this back. Open this up. The dies will be stuck, so you got to give them a little hammer. And then you can see now, we got that looking like that. We push this collar up, push that up, and boom, you got yourself an AN hardline. That's pretty slick. So I'll end up doing the other side, and then we'll get these thrown in the truck. Okay guys, well, there you have it. The hard lines are in. I still got to connect them at the back over there, but that's no biggie. I ended up using these little 3/8 hanger things. Probably most of you guys use that stuff. But it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna be blinded here. Some of you guys might be wondering why I went with hardline. Well, braided line is just expensive. Oh, there's the cat. But yeah, braided, Lacey, get out of here. Braided line is just a little bit too expensive to run all the way, all the time. And I plan on doing a lot of cars. So it just made the sense to spend the extra money and buy all the stuff to do this, because I'm gonna be doing it in the future. But I think that's gonna do it for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and we'll catch you next time. And don't forget to salute the beaver. And Lacey, huh? Yeah.